Good afternoon. My name is Mark Vanberg, and this is my AEP 858 case study. When we look at an overview of Golden Oak High School, the first thing we notice is that Mr. Rhodes is a first-year principal, and his biggest challenge that he has to face is increasing his school's attendance rate, which is currently the lowest in the district, at 85% of students missing 10 or more days of school. It's odd because just 10 years back, Golden Oak was leading the district in attendance, and now they find themselves on the opposite end of the totem pole. So Superintendent Dr. Newman's most urgent concern with Golden Oak is their school attendance. Dr. Newman expects Mr. Rhodes to address and solve the issue. After reviewing 5 of the 659 cases of students who missed 10 or more days of school following Christmas break, and it's important to note that it's Christmas break because now the school is in the second half of the year, the second semester, Mr. Rhodes discovered the school doesn't have a unified attendance policy, specifically regarding excused and unexcused absences in the cases involving marriage, church-related activities, traveling with parents, doctor-related injuries, sports-related absences, and students coming from families who don't abide by truancy law. The legal and ethical issues surface when you just analyze the district policy, which is aligned with the state policy. It calls for excused absences only in the cases of illness, death in the immediate family, inclement weather, or a valid reason approved by a principal with prior approval. As some leverage for the teachers, a district policy in place allows teachers to subtract 10 points from a student's total number of points in the given quarter if they exceed 5 absences. Is this really the best tool that serves teachers in improving student achievement and student attendance, which ultimately leads to an improved society? Are teachers seeking principal approval when approving absences? If not, they are failing to meet their contract expectations. Teachers are excusing absences at their own discretion, potentially acting in a discriminatory manner. Teachers are acting out of state compliance by failing to report student absences. It's not a choice to decide whether to report if a student is present or absent from school. It's a law. Failing to do so is a breach of contract. Teachers are addressing attendance problems without input from school administrators or counselors. The case of Prince v. Massachusetts defined that a state's prerogative as supervisor to parents when parents fail to provide for the welfare of their children. Under that statute, schools and the state can intervene if families are failing to get their students to school and they're missing the excess amount of school days. 1 of 5 students was labeled truant. Why only 1? And why this particular student? To summarize, Golden Oak High School is failing their students and society by inconsistently abiding by state and district policies regarding the reporting of student attendance. When we analyze the facts, we understand that Dr. Newman is our superintendent. Mr. Rhodes is our first-year principal. We know the cases of Karen, Tyrone, Christina, Carl, and John, as well as the parents' reasoning for the absences. We know the athletic director was involved in John's case, giving him excused absences to rest. We know the counselor's office was involved in Karen's case when they failed to report documentation to the family upon request. We know that Carl's case was referred to a truancy officer. We know that 2 veteran teachers are not reporting student absences regularly. And we know that Dr. Newman requested that Mr. Rhodes involve social services and juvenile court system in place in his new plan. And we know that 965 students make up the school's demographic from grades 9 through 12. We don't know how other classroom teachers record attendance. We don't know the demographic of other schools in the district. We don't know if teachers are clear on the attendance policies. We don't know the administration's past policies, and we don't know the parents' socioeconomic status involved in the cases. We know this took place at Golden Oak High School. We know that most families work in the metropolitan area, which requires a 2-hour commute each day, so that's 2 hours aside from their workday that they aren't able to be at home. We know that Hispanic and Asian families recently have moved into the community, making it more diverse. And know that the majority of the school body is made up from students who come from middle-class families. A small portion of students come from high and low-income families. It's important to note this because we want the perception to be that we're treating everybody the same. We don't want it to appear that we are treating one group of socioeconomic students differently than another. We don't know where the school is located in terms of the state or the city, and we don't have any community perspective data. We know that this program includes a lot of experienced teachers. They have a very low turnover rate. The school offers 11 sports teams, with football being the most popular, and it also offers 31 different clubs. And we know that last year Golden Oaks attendance was the lowest in the district. We don't know any community perspective data regarding the program. We don't know the school's data system for recording attendance and monitoring. We don't know the programs in place to assist certain situations. So if a family is having trouble getting their child to school, we don't have any knowledge of systems in place to help those families or any services that we offer. We don't know the curriculums, and we don't know if this is a private or a public school. When we review and prioritize the information and identify the stakeholders, the students have a stake in it because it's their learning, it's their future. Not attending school will not prepare them as well as they should be to enter the workforce or whatever post-high school career choice they decide to make. Families have a stake in this because they have a right to know if their student is at school or not. Forget the excused or unexcused absences. Families first and foremost need to know if their child is at school that day. It's a law. The school's perception has a stake in this because the situation affects the school's reputation if they're not treating people fairly or if they're favoring one group as opposed to another. Mr. Rhodes has a stake because he's a first-year principal trying to prove he's the right man for the job. Dr. Newman has a stake because as a district attendant, the district attendance as a whole is evaluated based off all the schools. And so in the case of Oak Hill, or Golden Oak, excuse me, Dr. Newman's attendance is being skewed because that school is pulling the district average down. And the faculty, because they don't want to face any disciplinary consequences for failing to abide by district or state protocols. Students, families, staff, and the community, they all have a stake in the outcome. It all will affect them. So far, the only stakeholders that have been consulted are the principal and the district attendant. The parents, the students, and the other staff members are currently out of the loop. I can and should learn more about this situation. How have other schools in the district improved attendance? At one point over the past 10 years, every school in the district had a lower attendance rate than Golden Oak. What strategies did these schools have in place to improve their student attendance? Perhaps Mr. Rhodes could pull some of those ideas and implement them into a plan that would improve his school's overall attendance. I also need to know why Carl's case was the only case reported to the truancy officers. Why is Carl's case appeared to be handled differently than others? Do we understand that this attendance system is in violation of state and district laws? When we look at possible options and consequences, the first option would be just to keep the current system in place. We can move forward as if everything is systematically okay with regards to how we log attendance and how the cases of truancy are being handled. Option 2, we could delegate the responsibility of determining an unexcused versus excused absence to the principal, assistant principal, or school leader. This would require teachers to record this absence, then leave it up to a third party to determine if the absence is excused or unexcused. Option 3, the families and students who have exceeded the absences would be invited to attend a meeting to discuss their child's attendance issues. Option 4, the principal administrative team brings data to an all-staff meeting. Together as a staff, the team evaluates the system in place and makes critiques to the protocols as needed. Option 1, the pros for keeping the system in place is really just avoiding change. The staff doesn't have to change, parents don't have to change, students don't have to change. They don't have to go through any stresses of working through change. The cons would be that the teachers and the administration could face consequences for breaking truancy laws and failing to abide by the attendance protocols set by the state and the district. The perception data could be skewed because it appears that they are handling cases inconsistently. Students enter the workforce or their post-high school life unprepared because they weren't attending school as they should have and as they are due. Society doesn't get the best version of the students when they are not educated and and given the education that they are entitled to. Option 2, the pros for delegating excused versus unexcused absences to the principal or administrative team. We're more likely to have an increase in accountability. The attendance most likely will increase. Teachers' bias would be removed from excusing or not excusing an absence. The cons would be a much more distant relationship between the teachers and families because typically the teachers would work with the families through the attendance issues and develop a strong rapport, but now the administration team is doing that. It would be a major increase in the principal's workload. It takes time away from improving teachers and students, as well as possible teacher frustration from no longer being able to make the call if that absent is excused or unexcused. If we invite parents to attend a meeting and to discuss the issue, the pros would be establishing a stronger rapport with those families. We're giving them voice and a chance to be heard. We might discover trends that identify underlying issues, and this could yield positive perception data because we're giving a voice to our students and our families. The cons would be no attempt is being made to hold teachers accountable for documentation, and we're also allocating time to host these conferences. Option 4 would be improving the system through analyzing data with the staff in a collaborative fashion. Pros would be attention is drawn to the issue. We are increasing the teacher accountability because they have a voice in it. We are allowing others to contribute to the change. We're making it a team effort. And new policies will be approved at Mr. Rhodes' discretion. He still is in charge of putting the plan on the table and getting it approved, and he still has the power to do so. He has the final call. The cons would be, we're taking some power away from teachers, and the families and the student input is not considered through option 4. They don't have a voice in this. This is just between the staff and the administration. When you look at the best options, option number 4 would be the best option to most likely increase student attendance and diminish teacher bias when determining if an absence is excused or unexcused. If Mr. Rhodes brings relevant data to the collaborative discussion, the staff and himself are in a position to make data-informed decisions. Staff input would be valued. All members of the staff would have an opportunity to improve the school community and increase student achievement. Even if the new system has flaws, all teachers would understand the clear expectations for documenting student attendance and determining if an absence is excused or unexcused. Oak Hill would also be operating under terms and conditions of the law. Parents would also have comfort knowing the situation is being improved. Mr. Rhodes would also have a new attendance plan that he could present to Dr. Newman, proving that he is making an attempt to fix the situation. And when the plan has been developed, all stakeholders will be consulted. Information will be sent home for families. Families and students will return a signed document proving they understand the new attendance policy, the procedures, and the consequences. The staff will sign a document proving they understand the new policy and consequences for failing to abide by new procedures. Now, when we're implementing our decision, it's important for Mr. Rhodes to make it very clear that it's not him versus the staff. He doesn't want them to have to deal with any consequences. So when we talk about consequences with the plan, Mr. Rhodes is really trying to help the staff. He doesn't want them to have to deal with consequences from the state or from the district. So Mr. Rhodes first has to gather relevant data surrounding his current system. With that data at hand, he has information that he can go through, that he can create in a presentative fashion, and host a collaborative staff meeting. The team will discuss the legal obligations of mandated reporting, the qualifications for determining an excused versus unexcused absence, protocols for communication, the current data system in place for recording attendance, and consequences for teachers and students. Again, we don't want to punish our teachers. We don't want to be the one to administer the consequences. We just don't want them to have to face any consequences from the state or the district. The new attendance policy will be submitted to the district board for approval. When approved, the plan will be written and distributed to students and families. They will sign proving their acknowledgement of the new policies. We might want this documentation in the future in case we have to go to truancy court. A follow-up meeting with the staff will occur within the first month of implementing the new plan. The purpose is to check for understanding, answer questions, and take teacher input. We're always willing to change the plan as long as it is in compliance with the state and the district protocols. If our system isn't improving academic achievement and attendance, we're more than happy to fix it. We just want to make sure it's in compliance with state and district protocols. We'll also administer surveys to families to gauge their understanding and their opinions of the new policies. And we're also going to put positive incentives in place. We're going to try to change the vibe and the culture of the school. We don't want to just look at attendance as a punishment. We also want to find positive ways that we can celebrate it. So in conclusion, we're going to use our plan moving forward. And if it doesn't work, we will review it as a staff, and we will take everyone's input throughout the process.